moving from a sedentary to a physically active societal way of life. This is Up on Our Feet.
Welcome to Up on Our Feet. There's a prevailing attitude worldwide that children who play physically are simply having fun. There's nothing really important happening when they do. And this attitude carries over into schools everywhere. The perception is that school children who are physically active outside the classroom on the playground, they're just running around, they're just playing. However, over the past 2 decades, an overwhelming number of scientifically validated peer-reviewed studies have shown that these children are not simply playing or just having fun. In addition to enhancing their physical and mental health, they are also actually enhancing how their brains work. What's the significance of this? Why is it important? A research paper of a study released just a few months ago answers this question, and one of the co-authors of the study is Professor David Jiménez-Pavón, a researcher at the University of Cádiz in Spain. Professor Jiménez-Pavón heads up his own lab in the university's Department of Teaching Physical Education, Fine Arts, and Music. He is an active researcher in the area of exercise physiology, physical activity, and nutrition, including the prevention of cardiometabolic diseases through physical activity and exercise in youth. And he is among the top 20 researchers in the field of physical activity and sports sciences in Spain. Professor Jiménez-Pavón, it's nice to have you with us.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here with you.
Okay, so to begin, your study is a meta-analysis. And for those unfamiliar with the term, would you explain what a meta-analysis is?
Yes, of course. A meta-analysis aims mainly to revise the full literature about one specific topic. In this case, it was the effect of exercise intervention on intelligence. And then, after taking the key information from the different papers that we found, achieving the inclusion criteria, we perform a statistical analysis to weigh the effect and the role of each of these studies in the overall effect. And at the end, the conclusion that we got are really strong because of this statistical analysis on so many papers.
Okay, and the meta-analysis that you and the other co-authors conducted looked at the question of whether or not children engaging in physical activity actually improve their intelligence, their IQ. So what did your meta-analysis show? What was the conclusion?
Yeah, the key finding of our meta-analysis was that exercise intervention, because we are not talking only about physical activity, if not exercise intervention, significantly improve intelligence in children and adolescents, particularly in an average score of 4 points in the intelligence quotient, but also found benefits on the fluid intelligence, which is another type of intelligence essential for problem solving and adaptability. So these results were even consistent regardless of age and initial level of intelligence, which is also a very important issue. So this is the main conclusion. Yeah, physical exercise intervention not only improve physical functionality or physical fitness, if not also cognition and intelligence.
Okay, and I think you said it improved intelligence 4 points, is that correct?
Yeah, 4 points in the score.
And is that significant?
Totally significant. This result was significant in compared with the when performing the statistical analysis. So that means that increase over the media in 4 points.
Okay, and as I understand it, and I think you mentioned it, one of the types of intelligence, there are really 3 basic types of intelligence. There's fluid intelligence, crystallized intelligence, and general intelligence. Would you briefly explain what each type of intelligence is?
Yeah, but basically, general intelligence is the more common intelligence understood by the population, which is the overall one assessed with the intelligence quotient score that I mentioned before. Then we have fluid intelligence, which is this capacity to solve problems and to adapt to new circumstances when you are facing them. And then we have the other one that I didn't mention before because we didn't found effect of exercise intervention on crystallized intelligence because we were not able to analyze this one because of the small number of studies and the discrepancies between them. This one is the intelligence that you have like more fixed in your brain.
And did your study examine how this actually happens, how physical activity improves intelligence, what happens physiologically or neurologically? Did you look at that at all?
Yeah, talking about the mechanisms by through the exercise improve intelligence, we can suggest, looking at the literature and reviewing the physiological effects of exercise, that maybe there are like 2, 3 potential mechanisms by which exercise influence intelligence. The first one is enhancing the brain function through multiple mechanisms like blood flow, cerebral blood flow, which is to provide more oxygen and nutrient to the brain to perform its task. The second one could be like in other study that we found that exercise promote neurogenesis and synaptic plasticity, helping for learning, memory, and all these issues. And another one can be to reducing the inflammation and oxidative stress, which is also linked with cognitive decline. So reducing that is going to be positive for the brain.
Okay, so there are a number of areas here. It could be some of them, or it could be all of them that are affected by the physical activity impacting the brain.
Yeah. So in the particular paper that we found in this meta-analysis, they suggested some of them. Some of the papers suggested one mechanism, others suggested the other one. But at the end, it is plausible and possible that all of them are influenced by physical exercise intervention. For that, to check in that particularly, randomized control studies should be developed in order to check that specifically, not only intelligence, but also the physiological mechanisms by which they achieve that.
Okay, so then, given the results of your study, what does all this mean for kids personally, and what are the implications for their academic performance in school?
Yeah, there are several points very, very interesting for us, which is for the children and adolescents, not all the population, but sometimes people and young people feel because of the parent or the society that when they are doing a sport after school or whatever, they are, let's say, kind of losing time, not losing time from a study or from other issue. However, with that, we are telling that it's not only good for physical health and physical fitness, if not, it's going to be better later when you go to the school and later when you go to study for an exam or whatever. So they are improving doing exercise, both physical and mental health. For educators, for example, parents and policymakers, I will say that they should take that into account because promoting physical exercise in a stronger way will improve not only the health of the population, which is very, very important because a lot of issue, if not the performance, academic performance through increasing intelligence.
Okay, so if the kids' brains are working better, their IQ is improving, and they're performing better academically, when these kids grow up in a larger context, what does this mean for the futures of these children and the futures of their respective communities and nations.
Yeah, one of the key issues from my point of view, my particular point of view, is that during the growth, everything that you are working and you are improving will have memory in the future. Let me put you another example. The muscle mass has been shown to have memory. That means that if you do exercise during your adolescence period, when you will be older or adults, and you do exercise again, your muscle will remember that stimulus and will adapt easier. So those people doing exercise during the young period will be remaining more brain healthy in the adult age and in the older adult age. So it is like a warranty for the future to work in the young period.
Okay, so then this is really important for any culture because from what you're saying, if the kids are physically active, they're improving their health, their brains, everything like this. This then carries over into adulthood when they're responsible citizens, when they're in the government, when they're physicians or teachers or anything like this. You're saying that there's a carryover effect from what they're doing as kids or adolescents into adulthood, yes?
Yeah, even if that is not a direct conclusion or finding from this meta-analysis, we can say, based on the literature, in the overall literature, that both functionality and brain improvement during the young period will impact in the adult age. That means they will have more reserve, or they will be more resilient from the functional point of view, but also more resilient from the cognition point of view in
Okay.
every field.
All right. So as was mentioned in the introduction, this research has been building and building over the past 2 decades or so. But despite the science behind it, including what your study and all the other studies demonstrate, why do you think most schools worldwide continue to have their students spend almost all of the school day learning in a sedentary manner, seated at their desks?
Yeah, this is a big deal. Yeah, this is a big fire in all the countries, I think so. That, from, as you know, from the science to the reality, there is a big gap, a big, communication between science and public decision and private decision in education, for example, is not direct. So we need to convince with a lot of evidence about that, and sometimes even with the evidence in your hand, they are not totally aware. So dissemination, divulgation, and promoting this message in all the media is very, very important to be aware at all the level of the population, the effect of physical exercise on brain health and also functionality. So there is still a gap between the communication between scientific community and the public health policies.
Okay. So do you have any thoughts as to what it will take to reverse this prevailing paradigm, this way of thinking, and have students be much more physically active at school, especially as this relates to how they can learn in a physically active way while enhancing their brains at the same time? You know, the research is there. What's it going to take for the policymakers to follow the science?
Yeah, for example, at national level, we have found some experiment in which we have achieved the aim to increase the number of hours of physical activity in the normal school day, but also there are also new strategies becoming optional, but becoming more relevant, which is doing or offering more exercise activities in the afternoon after the school. And then children and adolescents are really, really happy to be never, they say no to more physical education time during the morning, never. And if you provide more facilities to do exercise in the afternoon, with a professional physical educator supervising the exercise, that's really nice for them. So this is the key message. The public health policies should be more adhesive to fund this type of action, which will impact the health of children and adolescents, but also the future of these children and adolescents when they become adults and older.
Okay. All right. Final question. Over the course of your professional career, and with all the studies and projects you've done regarding the impact of physical activity on the brain, on physical health, on mental health, in the big picture of things, what's the big message, the big takeaway, the major conclusion you've come to?
In summary, I will say in a sentence that exercise is not just about physical health. It's not a powerful tool for cognition development in children and adolescents. It means work for your body, but also work for your brain, because both together will be the best union.
Okay. Professor David Jiménez-Pavón of the University of Cádiz in Spain, thanks for being with us on Up on Our Feet.
It has been my pleasure. Thank you very much for calling me.